This is the ABCs of Homestead. Life B, Part 2. Barking! Homestead dogs can be kind of yappy because there's lots to bark at on the homestead. Try to keep their barking somewhat in hand so you don't annoy your neighbors. Try to train them quiet. Might even know the word shh. And they instantly stop what they're doing and be still. Second B on this series is barns. There's lots of different barn types in homesteading. This was an old shop that happened to be on the property when we moved in. It's a metal building with insulation sprayed on. Then we have another building here that was part of an addition at one time. We have some small barns over here that Dad has fashioned for the pigs. Those are just 4x8. And those work just fine too. You want your barn to have a good roof that doesn't leak and well ventilated, but not too stuffy so that it doesn't encourage pneumonia in your animals, because most homestead animals are vulnerable to pneumonia. This is one of our other barns. It's a greenhouse. It's good and bad. It holds in moisture, of course, which isn't good, but it also holds in heat. So it's really good for baby animals as far as it's like, I don't know, 5-10 degrees warmer in there than it is in the outside areas. The other homestead B we want to talk about today is buckets. And you need barrels of buckets when you're homesteading. Buckets can be purchased, of course, but they get pricier as the years go by. These are recycled buckets. Bakeries are a good place to go and ask for buckets. Sometimes people will charge you, sometimes they won't. These are 3-gallon buckets with plastic handles. Those can be used for like water buckets and things like that. When you're using for water buckets, you can even use handleless ones, and that's a good use for them. The problem with water buckets is I've had kids be found wearing them on their head. So either turn the handle toward the wall so that they don't get tangled in it, because they'll play with it, or take the handle off and to prevent them being stuck if they get their head in there. And also keep a small shallow bucket, like a 1-gallon, for baby goats and stuff like that, so they don't fall in and drown. 3-gallon is better than a 5-gallon, but they still could probably drown it. So about a 1-gallon is better. And have buckets for dirty things like manure. For these kinds of things, you want to have a metal handle because the plastic ones eventually break. And when they break, you don't want to be carrying something heavy in there because it's going to go everywhere. I had some milk I had clabbered, and I put it in a bucket with a plastic handle. I was carrying it through the living room, and the handle broke, and 3 gallons of clabbered milk went all over the living room carpet. That was a fun homestead adventure. So one other thing is keep buckets with handles and with lids. And a bucket with lids you can use to store foodstuffs. You can store grain in it and have it safe from rodents. Plastic buckets, of course, rodents can chew through, and we've had that happen. So metal garbage cans are better with that, with a tight-fitting lid. But you can keep your personal storage in there, flour, sugar, noodles. This prevents problems like insect infestation and a lot of the staleness factors, and you eliminate some of the moisture issues. You can also use it to store things like your wool from your sheep. That keeps the moths out, because moths just love things that are hidden. I've tried putting it in all different kinds of containers, but a container with a snap-on lid with a seal in it works better. And one of our bees is bunnies. Baby bunnies particularly. We breed bunnies 2x2 in case somebody messes up. This is Beauty. Bunnies are easy. You can't hardly see her. It's dark in there. Bunnies are easy. Provide them with a water bottle, a nest box, some grass hay, some good quality pellets like Purina, 16% protein, so they have enough to breed with. And they are induced ovulators. You put them in with the male, and 8 to 10 hours after they're exposed to the male and he breeds her, then she will be impregnated when he breeds her again. And then 28 to 31 days later, you have baby bunnies. Bunny care is really easy. Have a glass dish, not a plastic one. Glass or metal. Very good homestead animal. Very easy to start on bunnies. Don't feed them any treats until they are 5 months old. We wean at 1 month. See, look at that fat belly. She only visits them twice a day, so they have to get a bunch of milk in that time. They don't actually, a good doe doesn't care if you handle them. And those are the Bees of Homesteading Part 2.